Welcome back, everybody, to part two of the How to Get Started with LTX. This is a second part to the quick start, where in the first part, we got all of the setup done, all of the models were downloaded, and now we are going to get on to the fun part, which is making the prompt and actually generating this final render using LTX's image to video workflow. And again, you can grab this workflow straight from your custom nodes directory for ComfyUI-LTX video under the example workflows folder. So just file open, navigate to that directory, and open up the two-stage distilled workflow for the image to video workflow. That is all there, ready made, and ready to go. It should be mentioned too that we are doing this all inside of Comfy, and Comfy also has a bunch of LTX templates inside their templates section. I should note not all of them use LTX's custom nodes that we are going to be using for this video. So you're going to be having a little less control if you use the ready-made Comfy templates. So I highly recommend that you use LTX's image to video workflows and other workflows that you can find on their GitHub repo. You're just going to have so much more control that way. And when you open up this workflow, again, I want to encourage you to always think about how the data is moving. Read the workflow because the data in this workflow is going from left to right. And we start with the loading the image that we saw in the previous part one. We are then going to pass it through a text encode, which is where we put in the prompt. And then it goes through a series of stages where we go through the sampler. We pass that data then through the latent image, which then is decoded using the VAE decode node to then give us our final image. So each node transforms that data and then passes it along. Think of it like a game of telephone. Now, let's talk about the prompt. Well, the prompt is structured in a specific way. Every model has its own unique way of understanding the world, so you have to talk to it in its own unique way. And that comes with some advantages as well, because LTX's prompts are structured very simply. We have the subject, we have the action, then the setting, then your camera move, and then you can also then throw in audio cues, which is really neat to see. You can add in little sound effects that are synced perfectly to the action that you're going to see in your video. So this order of operation inside of the prompt, you don't have to stick to this exactly. You could put the audio sync cues before the camera, for example. But this is all of the data that it requires inside of a good LTX prompt to get the best results. And you can follow along by going to the prompting guide that is linked right here on the page and in the description below. So it's a good read. Check it out. You need some good prompting skills to get good things out of LTX, like with any model. So I highly encourage you to go and explore that and learn all about it. But let's see this in practice. So we're going to be giving this workflow a start frame. Again, we showed this in part one, but we didn't show the prompt. And this is the prompt that I created. Again, following that guide that we just showed for how to structure these prompts. What's really neat too is you can go into the LLM of your choice and ask it to help you do this. Give it the prompt guide that I just showed you, that URL. And now your LLM knows how LTX likes to prompt its video model. So you can give it a very simple initial prompt, which I just gave it a simple initial prompt of a pinball bouncing around a pinball machine. And it generated this very detailed prompt for us to use here of a continuous cinematic macro shot inside a colorful retro pinball machine. I'm not going to read this line for line. It's got some very nice filigrees in there. And again, look at it through the lens of the structure we just talked about, where we're describing the subject, the action, the settings, camera movements, and then sound effects. And the sound effects are cued right here very cleverly by saying each collision triggers the correct synchronized pinball sound and give it some example pinball sounds that we want to see. I don't expect LTX to give me every ping, chime, and pop, but we're just kind of giving LTX the vibe of what type of sound effects that we want, and it's going to make its own decisions. But it is going to follow some rules. Like I don't want any music, voices, or narration, just the sound effects, only authentic mechanical pinball effects. So let's go ahead and just highlight this and copy and paste it into our workflow. So here we go. We're going to go down here and just Control V, paste it right on in. Very, very simple. We have some other settings down here. We have our FPS, so frames per second. I like my videos to look very nice and cinematic, so we're going to go with the cinematic 24 frames per second. The number of frames is going to be the length of your video. This is going to generate, I don't, let's do some math. 121 divided by 24. That's going to give us roughly a 5-second shot. And then we have our video size inside of the empty LTX latent video node. So our video is going to be generated at 960 by 544. And we have some additional sliders here. We won't go through every single one because, again, this is a quick start. But this workflow is, again, included in the GitHub repo that you can go in and customize to your heart's content and poke around. I'm going to leave everything here very, very base. The only thing that's going to be customized here is going to be our prompt and our initial image. So this is going to be a good first test. But as you go through here, again, we're leaving everything nice and basic. Basically, all you have to do is come to the very end and hit run. Now, while that is rendering, and this won't take too long, again, because I have a beast of a machine with this Dell with 96 gigabytes of VRAM running an NVIDIA Blackwell 6000. But generation times will depend entirely on the hardware that you're running. So a faster GPU with more VRAM like mine means shorter renders. And on lighter machines, well, expect to wait a little bit, but it's not too long. I've been clocking in around 3 to 4 minutes. Once you initially run your workflow, be sure to understand that these models have to be loaded initially into your memory. So the first run's always going to take a little bit longer than any subsequent runs. So just be patient. Once you start rolling, you'll then be able to start iterating very, very quickly because you're going to start seeing results very, very quickly. And speaking of results, after just a few minutes, like we were talking about, I now have a video ready to go. And our output right here is 1920 by 1088. And that's because this workflow is what is called in the top in the name of the workflow a two-stage workflow. So we have this section right here that generates a high resolution video. So we do all of the hard calculations in the low resolution space, and then we go through this little upscale process right over here. So a very clever stage in the workflow, saves you some time, and again, saves you on the VRAM cost. But let's see what we've got here. Let's go ahead and hit play. All right, we've got some carnival noises in the background. Sounds like a good time at the arcade. And as you see there, as the ball is hitting different objects, it is cueing a sound effect, which is very, very neat and a cool feature of LTX video that we are only just scratching the surface on here. Now, what are some common gotchas that will frustrate you as you're jumping into Comfy and LTX video? Well, one of them is a ComfyUI issue, like the nodes are not loading. Well, maybe you didn't restart when you installed that new node. Remember, you need to always restart Comfy whenever installing new nodes, and it's just good practice for new models as well. But if you install a new model, just hit R to reload your references and it'll appear. And when you open it back up and you still don't see it, well, check the console. Now, how do you do that? Well, down here in the lower left-hand corner of ComfyUI, you have a console button. Just click that, and this is going to tell you everything you need to know. And it shows you your entire session too, as you are any warnings, any nodes that are loading. I often will just come up here and click copy all if I'm having an issue when I've first booted up Comfy, and just paste that right all into your LLM of choice. Mine is Claude, and you can just tell it that, hey, I'm working in ComfyUI. I am trying to install the LTX video node and I'm having trouble. Here's what my console says, and it'll help you debug all of that. So be sure to use the console. I don't think a lot of people do inside ComfyUI, and it's a very powerful feature. Now, what else could you run into? Well, is it running really slowly? Well, that's because model weights, when you first run them, again, are downloading. So they're loading into your memory. So just be patient, wait it out. It is only going to happen the first time of your ComfyUI session. And once it's loaded into memory, all the subsequent runs are very, very fast. Does your console say that you're getting a dependency mismatch? Or when you're running LTX video, is it giving you that error off into the side properties panel? Well, go back to the section of this video that describes using UV sync dash dash frozen inside that activated environment that you've set up, and that should get you up and running very quickly. And maybe you just updated ComfyUI and now everything is broken. Well, that happens too. So make sure that if you have updated ComfyUI to its latest version, make sure you also update LTX video to its current latest build. And that will make sure that you don't have any mismatches and you are able to generate video very, very quickly without a lot of frustration and hassle. Now, where to go next? Well, LTX also, like I said previously, gives you these great guides for all sorts of things. We have a prompting guide right here over on the docs.ltx.video. Again, all of these links will be included in the video description below. There's also usage guides for image to video, which we did not cover here. We just talked about text to video, but it's all similar processes with typing in your prompt, except you can also input a start image that guides your frame. This is often the secret to getting really high quality cinematic videos because you are giving it additional information to guide your vision. And you can use any model of your choice to generate that video. And also from our last video over LTX2 trainer, well, if you want to learn more about that, well, we go right on over to that GitHub Lightricks page and go to the LTX trainer page. This gives you a ton of additional details. And I'm highlighting this here because there's additional documentation for not just LTX2 trainer, but all of LTX's offerings. So it's just a good habit to get into to go over there and follow the quick starts that they include for each one of these techniques. LTX has done a fantastic job of documenting all of their different tools, and they make it very easy to just kind of get up and running. So make sure you utilize that GitHub page, and kudos to the LTX team for putting so much time into documentation. It is a unsung art of writing documentation. I've done a lot of it, and it's not easy. So very good job. It's very comprehensive. Now go generate. It is time. You are up and running and ready to go. Again, you've got the docs if you need any additional help, or rewind this video and just go step by step along with me. It may look intimidating at start, but it's really very simple and straightforward. Just go through it step by step. And make sure you also come and join the LTX Discord community and share what you're working on and share any questions that you might have. Just follow this link right here. Also, the link will be in the video description below, and it'll take you to the LTX Discord where you'll accept that invite and join over 70,000 members that are on there that are all doing the same thing that you are doing, experimenting, asking questions. It's a great community. I highly recommend that you go check them out. So there you go. We did a whole big quick start for LTX video. I hope you feel like you are ready to jump on in, that everything is nice and clear. But if you have any questions, again, comment below. We will do our best to answer them as you go. But thank you again for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.